it's just cathartic, man. It's just beautiful to be able to talk and just bring ourselves back into the world, our world, once again. So thank you. I appreciate it. DC welcomes you to HPC.
Welcome back, Wrestle Nerds. Vic the Villain here. Let's see who's making their way to the ring.
Pretty chubby flaco, dímelo, mi gente.
We also have a special guest. It's another special moment for you folks here. Ladies and gentlemen, a man of such elegance and extravagance needs no introduction. He is Wrestling Rich's prize and, more importantly, the face of change. Ladies and gentlemen, Darius Carter. How you doing, ladies? How you doing, Darius?
Doing good, looking good, feeling good, always staying good. Check that.
Okay.
I knew it was a mighty good day when
Darius is flexing on us. He's flexing on us.
Oh,
okay.
I'm just being real, man. I'm just always working, always hustling. I keep going on. So
love it. I love it. Talk to me a minute, man. How you been? How is work lately, man? How you holding it down?
It's been, it's work never stops. Business never stops, money never stops, and I dabble in the marketing, some of that stuff. So it's been amazing seeing what goes up and what goes down. It's kind of money tells you the future, where people are putting their money, and I wish more people paid attention to it. Even if you didn't invest, just look where money is going, look what's going up, what's going down, and that'll tell you kind of the way of the world. So yeah, I've been in my office. People are starting to act like there's no COVID anymore, so people need to calm down a little bit.
I see that.
It's just we all can do business without rushing to a place, and I think that mentality. I think people need to calm down a little bit, but other than that, business is continuing, and it's been good.
All right, awesome, man. And listen, we love seeing you at those shows, man. We've seen you at Capitol, man. Ace, we know your CCW days, man. We just really can't wait to get to see the product again and have everything back to normal. And we know one day things will get back to normal, but until then, like you said, we gotta keep that pace, man. Keep that slow and steady. You wanna, get a huge setback. But why don't you talk to us about yourself more? Tell me how did this whole flash, man, this whole style thing, it didn't come overnight, baby. You was at 11 years doing this thing, man. Talk to me how you got into this, man. How'd you start?
Eddie knows how long I've been wrestling, which is great. I don't just go out there and say it. I just want my veteranship to be known and kind of realized. So some people are like, I've been doing this 18 years. I'm like, how many times are you going to tell people? You've been doing it 18 years. I mean, respect to you. You're a great wrestler, but that's not what makes you great. It's not about just how many years. It's what you've done in those years. Right. And, 11 years, I've been able to do a lot in that. And you always want to do more, but you got to look back and be grateful for what you did. And, for me to have been able to wrestle in the UK twice, I mean, that was a dream just to get over there once. And
that's crazy.
Yeah, to do that, and I got to meet Johnny Kidd, who's a world of sport, legend, and I got to train with him a little bit before the show. So just little things like that. It makes everything. You have to look. You got to keep going in life, and you got to keep wanting more. But you also got to look back and look at what you accomplished. You have to count your accomplishments. And I think sometimes people either are too down on themselves or they too ahead of themselves. Just realize what you've done, and if you know you've accomplished, just keep building on that. And to have been able to go to the UK, regardless of promotion, regardless of whatever, is like, that was incredible. I was out there for 3 weeks total, and that was a great thing. That was awesome. That's what this is all about, is exploring the business and finding yourself and getting as far as you can.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
It is awesome.
Go ahead, Peter. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. So wrestlers, growing up, any wrestlers that you idolized, you looked up to? Which ones were your favorites growing up?
Yeah, it was the Nature Boy Ric Flair is always the go-to, and I'm very, very clear about that. About Rick. His entire career, going from the territories and being the man at a time when being the man I don't want to say really meant something because it always means something, but back when you were undisputed, there was no, it's Rick and this and this and that. And there's no disrespect to everyone else, but when you were NWA World Heavyweight Champion, you were the guy everywhere. You know, everyone was lining up just to get a chance at you. You know what I mean? That's what I loved. And I know that was a little bit before me, but that's what I grew up on, Ric Flair. I studied him. I loved him. I loved the way he came up. I loved everything he represented. And that's what I liked as a child. You know, Hulk Hogan didn't do it for me. You know, the prayers and the vitamins to me was like, okay, but a lot of people pray and eat their vitamins, and they're still not you. So what's going on? so what's going on?
More than that.
I looked beyond the surface. You know, I always felt like Hogan was kind of a surface character, whereas Ric Flair was deep because this guy was not. He was the best looking, the best dressed, the best wrestler, and he kept putting money into himself. He kept elevating himself. Just when you thought Rick did it enough, here he comes on a chopper. You know, and then it's just he just always raised the bar in and of himself. And that's what I wanted to be. I'm like, Darius Carter can never stop growing, never stop changing, stop evolving. Where I started to being kind of Young Money, you know, Swagger Like Us, you know, because I did well early, you know what I mean? You know, 16, you're able to legally work, and I prepared myself for that. My mother worked for a Fortune 500 company when she was 19. So
wow.
And that's something I don't just put out there. So there you go if you were listening to this. But I just kind of was ready to be successful before success came, if that made sense. So I just put eggs in different baskets, and I had some good people with me at the time, and it just, my mind did that. And in college, opportunities just opened up tenfold. You know, college is where opportunity is. And, you know, we talk about education in wrestling. It's so important to get your education and just to have something. And like I said, even if you don't complete college or whatever, just experience it, because it'll change your mentality on things. You know, if you do it for a year, okay, do it for a year and then decide it's not for you. But at least try it. That's my suggestion to everyone, because some of the experiences you have in college you never can get back. And I met a lot of connections in business and in this world through Rutgers, and I got to give them credit. You know what I mean? It helped me get to where I am, to where I can be in a pandemic and not sweat finance. You know, I'm not worried about, you know, right. I'm about humanity more than I'm worried about wealth. You know what I mean? Humanity.
Right. A blessing. That's a blessing.
Yeah, money will be money until money is no longer the thing that we care about. You know, but it's always going to be currency. It's always going to be opulence.
Right.
You know what I mean? And to see what's happening from this, that's like kind of exciting to me. And I know it's kind of sad to say in a pandemic that I don't want to say I'm excited by the pandemic, but the prospect of it and where everything is going to go. I'm interested in how the world's going to look, because the world needed to get shaken up. And it's sad that this is potentially what it is to shake it up, but
most definitely
something had to happen.
Hardest of times. I can see that, man. I second that with the whole. It's interesting to see what happens now, because it's funny. Who knows what new businesses arise now? What new companies? What new faces are running the show, right? And
yep.
Now there's so much open freedom coming up, and the new world is not the norm anymore. Now everything is more online and socially interactive, jobs and stuff like that. So what a time for wrestling, because now wrestling opens the door to more different style matches, right? I ask you have such a great and amazing wrestling. You put in so much great work in the intergender field. You have so much intergender work that. How do you feel about wrestling plugging that in now? The future of intergender wrestling, could that be something that maybe TV starts showing a lot more, and maybe that opens up more doors for talent?
Yeah, I mean, the intergender matches are some of my favorite things, just because I feel like women in general at this point in the career, or at this point in wrestling, I feel like women are more likely to give you a fight back without complaining. Like, I feel like a lot, like, I could hit Kimberly strong, and she's not going to complain. She's going to hit me back. I can hit Mercedes Martinez. I can clock her, you know, and professionally, but we're doing some stuff in there, you know. I want you to be alive in the match. I want you to be awake. I don't want you to be thinking about the next thing and, oh, I got to run here and I got to go there. I want you to be in the moment. That's the type of wrestler I am. And not everyone wants to wrestle like that. A lot of people want to wrestle the next, you know, with predicted moves and like be, and it's like,
what choreographed?
Yeah, it's like, okay, like, but that's not what I grew up on. That's not what I like. Do you really feel that excitement doing it like that? Is that, if that works for you, then sure. But for me, that feels like you're walking through the rain. It feels like you're just kind of going through it. And I'm never that guy. I'm always 100. And anyone who's ever been there with me will tell you that. I've never, there's no coasting. There's no cruise control ever with me, with Darius Carter. I'm always on. I'm always making you think. I might pin you another time. You know, I pin you 3 times in a row, and now you got to kick out 3 times. Like, but it's like, yeah, because I want to win.
Right.
How many guys go for multiple covers anymore? It's like, pin your guy, you know?
Yeah,
that's
true. Yeah.
You hit him with all
Finish
these moves.
him with the finish.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's like, listen, the finish can be whatever it wants to be. If I hit you with a Yakuza and I see you on your back, I don't need to hit the Royal Sweep. You're on your back. You're knocked out. I'm going to pin you right there. And some guys just don't get that. Some guys are just
and
like,
the point of the match is to get that pin. Get that 1, 2, 3.
Right. They want to beat their... Yeah, they want to beat their own reaction. It's like, well, I got to cheer. Let me get a bigger cheer than what I just got. It's like, man,
right.
Your guy is down. Pin your guy. And going back to the point, I feel like women just in general just put up a better fight, or they just go at it. There's more tenacity. So I really like intergender, but that's not what I want to really define me. I want to define me the fact that I can go in there with anybody. That's the point that I'm making. You know, I'm not wrestling women just to be better than women. That's not what it's about. It's about me facing anybody of any background, of any creed, of any gender, whatever. Male, female, non-binary, whatever you are. You know, your still life, you know, it could be still life if I go in there with still life. With apricots and pears, we can do something. I don't care what your creed is, where you come from. We should be able to go in there and produce art. And I feel like a lot of wrestlers wrestle the same type of people. They wrestle, and that's fine. You know, okay, you're going to wrestle that quick match, 8 to 10. You know, you may occasionally do a 20-minute, but you're wrestling the same 4 or 5 guys.
Right.
Doesn't that seem like, oh, I'll wrestle him forever? It's like, okay, but how do you expect to go somewhere?
Right.
I don't know.
Darius, a quick question, because you're talking about female wrestlers, male wrestlers. Do you have any favorite opponents, past, present, or potentially future?
Oh, definitely. I'm going to start with Dan Moff. Dan Moff is a tremendous opponent. He brings the best out of you. He makes you better. You literally walk out of a Dan Moff match better, and that's what it's all about. That's what life is about. That's what wrestling is, and that's what I pride myself on. I really feel, and I'm not trying to, you know, I'm not trying to toot a horn, but I really genuinely feel like I go in there and make people better. I make you come out with a different mindset. It may not be the way that you choose to wrestle, but you're not going to wrestle a match like that often. It's just different. A match with me is just different, and that's what I take pride in, and I love to see that. And Dan Moff does that for me, and he said I done it for him, and that means more than he knows. And he's a tremendous opponent. He makes you have to be in the moment. He has my mentality like that. You can't be anywhere. You can't be thinking ahead. Oh, I'm gonna run here. He's already ahead of you, and I love. Yeah, Dan Moff, Mercedes Martinez was tremendous. Just one of the best wrestlers I've ever competed against, male or female. Just a specimen. She's a tremendous wrestler. Steve Pena, I really like too. I know he wrestled. He did some things for Evolve. He did some shows there. He's not as, I guess, quote unquote name, but he's really talented. If you look him up, Pena, Steven Pena. Yeah, it's just we have like some hard hitting, technical, just really intense matches, and I like that. I like to get in there and kind of, just fight for your life, and that was really fun. Killer Cross was a great opponent too. I would like to. Yeah, I wrestled him at Warriors of Wrestling, and I'd like to wrestle him again. Now that he's one of those. He's another one that evolves. So he evolves over time. So you want to wrestle him. You want to kind of have checkpoint matches with him. And that's somebody I like to wrestle in like a year, and then like maybe a year after. Just every now and again, we check in on each other.
And in your wrestler's mentality, just for your sakes, is that one of your things that like? Is that a thing that just because that wrestler evolved, you want to feel out that new style? You want to check it out how it is and stuff? Like, do you guys feel each other out like that?
Yeah, definitely. I think one of the best parts of wrestling is feeling your opponent out. And I don't feel like that happens as much as it should either. I think you automatically assume that your opponent is good or bad, and you expect him. Right. You see where I'm going with it. And you kind of expect them to be on your wavelength. My whole thing is, I just want to go out there and know you. You're like, let's figure it out. You know what I mean? And I think that's underrated. Like, I want to wrestle because I want to experience. Because the more I experience, the better I get. And now the more styles I wrestle, the better I get. Yes, I'm a technical, mat-based, proficient grappler. But I also have striking ability. I also have surprising agility. People have said it's surprising, but I can catch you with a drop kick. I can move in there. If you're a wrestler, if you're a mat wrestler, you have to be agile. You have to be able to grab a leg. Yeah, if you're a wrestler without agility, you're not a wrestler. I'm sorry, and I'm not. If your feelings get hurt, but you can't be stationary. No matter how big you are, a wrestler will break you down. We'll grab your Achilles heel. We'll grab your ankle. You're gonna. Oh, you have weak knees. Here's a press. Oh, now you're down on one knee, and now half Nelson turn. You're done. You know what I mean?
Anything that doesn't look believable. If you're not that agile, it won't look believable. Is what it is, right?
Right.
You can't sell that.
Right. You have to have a quickness to you. You don't have to be the Flash, Speedy Gonzalez, but you have to have an element of, if you don't have that snap, that whip, you're in trouble. And a lot of guys don't have that whip now. They don't have it now. I'm not saying everyone had it back then. I'm not saying that, but more people had it. Bobby Eaton, Arn Anderson, Tully Blanchard, Barry Windham. These are guys that had. Yes, those are men that had that whip. But you know what it is though? They're not even that old. It's the 80s. You know, guys are so caught in the current. All they do is watch the last 5 years of wrestling, and I'm like, how do you think that's gonna work? And it's like, well, that's what's in. Okay, but it won't be in 5 years. And now you got to change your whole style to the fad instead of having established yourself. You know, I've been true to myself, and all of a sudden it's becoming more popular now. For me, I've always been a tactical, you could say vicious, poignant wrestler. That I don't feel like that was as cool before because you wanted more. You wanted quicks. You wanted quick whips and this and that. You wanted all this motion. I think now people are in certain places they're appreciating more of that technical, pick your spots type thing because they haven't seen that in a while. Really done well. So I feel like my time is hopefully coming. We'll see that things are definitely getting better for me, even in this containment, so I can tell. That's why I don't want to say what is going to come and what's expected, but it's looking really, really nicely. And I'm not going to say it's looking better now than it would have if it didn't happen, but I am a beneficiary of it. So we'll see what happens.
It takes a certain mindset, man, to have that mentality, man. You not everybody thinks that way, and that's the right attitude. That's the mentality to have moving forward. And a man of such sophisticated mic work, you had to have some inspiration, man. Talk to me about that. Who inspired you to perfect such mic work like you do?
Thank you. Again, Ric Flair, because we were talking about the different types. Okay, so we talked about, all right, this person can gut a great promo, this person can talk well, but we don't talk about the different types of promos. And Rick can cut them all proficiently. He could cut the commercial type promo, you know. He could cut, and you know what I mean by that, where you're kind of summarizing, you're going real quick, you say what you need to say, and you move on.
Insert product name here and keep it moving, right? Yeah.
Exactly. The product placement promo, but then he also had the in-depth promo where he would explain to you why he did what he did. He was saying, yeah, I got the ladies. Yeah, I got the wristwatch. Yes, I have the hair, because why not? If anyone's going to have it, why wouldn't it be me, the greatest NWA world champion? And it's just like, look at him. He's right. And that's what I loved. And that promo was what I always said, you can't speak it if you're not it. So
it's so believable. That's what he brings to the demeanor.
That's it. And I can't speak in a way that makes you look different, because some guys, they look a certain way, then you hear them talk and you're like, that's it. It doesn't work. And with me, I pride myself on looking the part and being the part that I talk up, you know, and being what I am, being what I say I am and what I truly am. That's what I think makes me so different and so kind of horrifying to people, is like I say something and it's true to pass. And maybe you don't want it to be from me, which is why they boo and they cheer, not cheer, but jeer, because I'm saying something maybe that you want to say it, but you don't like the way I'm saying it, or you don't like the fact that it's not coming from you, it's coming from me. Right. And I think that's a different type of hate than like you're a fat fan and you're over, like, you know, the easy way. A lot of people take the cheap way. And
it's cheesy. Yeah, it's cheesy.
Yeah,
too easy.
Right. You need like plants in the crowd to, like, I don't know. It's like you need someone to forcibly interact with you, or you just need something pushed. That's not really the art. The art is being able to get into people's minds and people's emotions and to bend them to your will. And when I go out there, I make people think, because Darius Carter is a very real thing. Darius Carter is something very possible in this world. Someone that has done so well for himself. He loves wrestling with all of his heart. It's his passion, but he doesn't need it. He has the money already, and that rubs people a certain way. You know what I mean? Because I'm not gonna sleep in an alleyway. I'm not gonna do this. I'm not gonna compromise my humanity for pro wrestling. I have my humanity. I do wrestling out of the love for it. You know what I mean? That because it's the passion of my life, not because I need it because I need it to pay my bills, or I can't, without wrestling, I can't have a roof over my head. That's not what wrestling should be for to you. It should be more than that. You know what I mean? That's my thought on it. I love it for the sport. I love it for what it is. The tradition of it, the foundation. There's nothing in this world like it. And Ric Flair exuded that in the promos because he loved wrestling. Everything he did was for wrestling. The Four Horsemen, everything was for wrestling. Nick Bockwinkel, just another one that back in the NWA, a tremendous talker. He was very sophisticated. He was very, he didn't scream, he didn't yell. He told it to you in a way that just, you're like, ooh, that wasn't, ooh.
Calm and sadistic. Like,
just calm and just like, you know, and he could be talking and be like, you know, Dusty Rhodes, you know, after our match in Atlanta, I had to pontificate on what you've done to me. I realized the physicality, the brutality. I understand the diverse situation that we were in. Like, he's one of those people that could break something down so fundamentally and put you in the spot. He could talk you into basically being behind the eyes of the person. That's the type of artwork. So yeah, Rick
and you just want to hear more, and you just want to hear more and more and more. You want to take it all in. He's one of those that he's gonna talk you into the building no matter what.
Yes, no matter where he was, and those are my guys.
So you talk natural heat, right? Like people, it rubs them a certain type of way. I love it. I love every second of it, man. Me and Pretty Chubby caught a Capitol show once upon a time ago. Man, you was
it was
ripping
in Hoboken,
it was
Jersey.
him that hit you with the streamer, not me, I swear to God. But listen, you was out there showing love. It was dope. You did your thing. Have you had a weird experience with fans of some sort? What was the weirdest shit like anybody's you've ever
any like weird interaction?
Or like massive heat or some shit like.
Well, what's weird is when, and I figured out that this was happening to me years ago, when promoters approach you, but promoters look and act so much like a fan that you don't know the difference. So then you kind of give it to them, and you don't realize that they're a promoter. I've apparently done that a few times.
Heel life, baby.
Yes.
I mean, how was
the gimmick, baby? Fuck it.
How was I supposed to know? I mean, they didn't come up and say, "Oh, I'm such and such, and I run this promotion." It was like, "Oh, hey, Darius Carter, and you're coming to shake my hand," and I was like, "You know, who are you?" You know,
wow.
I couldn't imagine some of the things I've said because it's so off the top of my head. I don't write this stuff down and like, oh yeah, I can't wait for this opportunity to say this. It just comes off of my head, and I say some things. I never use expletives. I never curse, at not once. But you know, I can say some things that'll make you emotionally just like reduce into ash.
That's bad. Yeah.
So who knows what I've said to some of these promoters that come up to me and they're like, "Hey, Darius, you know, what's going on with a handshake?" And I'm like, "Take your unwashed hand and take it to water before you try bringing it to me."
That's right. You not shaking hands. Like you said a little while ago. We got you under the scope, Darius. We got you under the scope, boy.
I appreciate that. I knew you had me mention how many years I've been wrestling. I said, all right.
The man hasn't been shaking hands since before COVID-19.
Trendsetter.
Woo!
Trendsetter.
Whoa.
Trendsetter.
That's funny.
Getter, mover, shaker, history maker. That's what
Now, Darius, speaking about real quick, speaking about the COVID and the pandemic, I guess my last question for you will be: any goals that you would love to accomplish once the pandemic is over with? What are you looking forward to doing?
I think it's getting about that time, man, that Darius Carter is on a TV somewhere.
Yes.
It's just.
Yeah.
The more I'm thinking about it, because I always was ready for it and always knew, you know, but it's been said to me so much lately, so many times, just, you know, you're TV ready, this and that. And I know it and I believe it. It's just finding the place that I want it to be at. It may not be my first choice, and that's something I have to, a pill I may have to swallow. I don't know. We'll see what's up. But I may not get my first choice, but I may get my second or my third, and we'll see. We'll see. Because if I have choices, I'm going to put everything I have into that first option. I'm not dilly-dallying. I'm not flim-flamming, you know. So I'm very excited to see the state of wrestling and what's next and where I can go. But the future is bright. The future is beautiful. The future is glistening. Awesome. And the world is listening.
I hear you. That's awesome.
Preach, brother. Preach.